मे क्रतुश्च मे स्वरश्च मे श्लोकश्च मे श्रावश्च मे श्रुतिश्च मे ज्योतिश्च मे सुमश्च मे प्राणश्च.
This podcast, I want to talk about Shiva. Who is Shiva and why does he matter? I grew up as a child looking at various people worshipping Shiva and always wondered what is the symbolic representation Shiva brings to our life. Our ancients knew much more about life and they cracked the universal code better than most of the scientists today. So these are the top 5 symbolic representations I take away from Shiva. The first is the third eye. Shiva has always been referred to as Triambaka because he has a third eye. The third eye does not mean someone's forehead cracked and something came out. It simply means another dimension of perception has opened up. If your perception has to evolve and enhance itself, the most important thing is that your energy has to evolve and enhance itself as well. The third eye is the eye of vision. We have the 2 physical eyes as sensory organs, and they feed the mind with all kinds of information because what you see is not the truth all the time. You see this person or another person and you think about them the way you perceive them. You might not see the Shiva in them. You see things that way it is necessary for your survival. Another creature looking at the same person might see it another way, which is necessary for its survival. And that is why we call this entire world as Maya or illusionary. We are not saying that the entire existence is illusionary. We are only saying that you are perceiving it as illusionary. The third eye means your perception has to go beyond the dualities of life. And you're able to see life just like the way it is, not just the way it is necessary for you to survive. And that is what opening up of the third eye means. The second symbolic representation is Nandi. In front of any Shiva temple you go, you see opposite to Shiva is Nandi. And Nandi is a symbolism of eternal waiting because waiting is considered as the greatest virtue in Indian culture. One who knows how to simply sit and wait is naturally meditative. Nandi is not expecting anything from Shiva. He is also not expecting Shiva to come out tomorrow. He is just waiting and he will wait forever. The quality is before you go into a temple, you must have that quality of Nandi. To simply sit, you don't have to go to heaven, you're not trying to get this from Shiva or something else, but you simply sit like Nandi and pray to Shiva and wait like the way Nandi waits in a very meditative state. This is the second symbolic representation of Shiva. The third symbolic representation is Trishul. Shiva's Trishul represents the 3 fundamental aspects of life. These are also the 3 fundamental dimensions of life and they're symbolic in many different ways. They can also be called as Ida, Pingala and Shushumna. These are the 3 basic nadis, the left, right and the central. And as we know, nadis are the pathways or channels of prana into the system. And there are 72,000 nadis, which basically comes from these 3 fundamental sources. The Pingala and Ida represents the masculine and the feminine, or Shiva and Shakti. But also not just in terms of masculine and feminine, but also in terms of your qualities of nature, what you should have. And bringing a balance between Ida and Pingala will make your life effective in this world. This will also allow you to handle various aspects of life. And most people live and die in Ida and Pingala. Sushumna is a central space and that remains dormant. But Sushumna is the most significant aspect of human physiology. You attain to a new kind of a balance, or they call it as the inner balance, and whatever happens outside, it does not disturb you because you have that space between the outside reality and your inner peace. This is what Shiva's Trishula represents. It represents the Ida, Pingala and Sushumna. Ida is the masculine, Pingala is the feminine, and Sushumna is the central space between where you attain the balance of those energies. And it's also an entry point to the 72,000 nadis, which defines the entire science of our human system in a very different way. The fourth symbolic representation is the moon. Shiva is also known as Chandrasekhara. Chandra is moon and Shekhara is crescent. And the crescent moon indicates that he has controlled mind and time perfectly. Moon is a measure of time, and Shiva having crescent represents him having control of time. The crescent moon is shown on the side of Shiva's head as an ornament. The moon symbolizes the time cycle through which creation evolves, from the beginning to the end. And since Shiva is the eternal reality, he is beyond time and has complete control over it. So this is the significance of the moon. As moon symbolizes the time cycle, it is depicted to show that he has got complete control over the time cycles. The fifth symbolic representation I take away from Shiva is the snake. Shiva has a snake around his neck, and also snake is very sensitive to certain energies. Shiva has a snake around his throat. It's not just symbolic, there's a whole lot of science behind it. There are 114 chakras in the energy body. Out of these 114, we are talking about the 7 fundamental chakras in the systems. And among these 7 fundamental ones, Vishuddhi chakra is located in the pit of your throat. This particular chakra is very strongly associated with the snake. The Vishuddhi is about stopping poison, and the snake carries poison. So all of these things are very interconnected. The word Vishuddhi literally means filter. If your Vishuddhi becomes powerful, you have the ability to filter everything that enters you. Shiva's center is supposed to be Vishuddhi and is also known as Vishakanta or Nilakanta. That is his other name, because he can filter the poison. He doesn't allow it to enter into his system. Poisons are not necessarily that which you consume by food. Poisons can enter you in many ways. A wrong thought, a wrong emotion, a wrong idea, a wrong energy, or a wrong impulse can poison your life. If your Vishuddhi is active, it filters everything. It saves you from all of these influences which can poison your life. In other words, once Vishuddhi is very active, the person is so powerful within himself that whatever is around him does not influence him anymore. He is established within himself and he tends to become a very powerful being. So Shiva is a manifestation and a personification of many symbolic reasons. Here are the top 5 takeaways I had looking at Shiva. If you had a different one, please put it in the comments below. If you like our stories, subscribe to our channel and leave your comments on what would you like to hear more. We'd like to hear from you so we can develop more of these podcasts.